Unlock the 7 secrets to the unshakable strength of the Stoic Aura. What if I told you the key to unstoppable strength lies not in what happens to you, but in how you choose to respond? Imagine mastering your emotions so completely that nothing, no challenge, no setback, could ever move you. Ready to unlock that power? Stay with me to discover how. Welcome to the Pure Stoic Practice channel, where we explore the profound wisdom of Stoic philosophy and how it can elevate your life to new heights. Hello everyone, if you're here to gain deeper insights into mastering your inner strength and living a life filled with purpose and clarity, you've come to the right place. To ensure you don't miss out on any of our valuable content, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to stay updated with the latest lessons and practices. The foundation of Stoic strength, self-control, and inner authority. Let me ask you a question. What if I told you that the true power doesn't lie in the world around you, but in the mastery of your own mind? What if, instead of being tossed around by every external circumstance, you could stand firm like a rock, unmoved by the storms of life? Picture this: a life where your emotions no longer control you, where every decision is made with clarity, and where your purpose anchors you firmly, no matter what the world throws your way. How would that change your life? Today, we're going to dive deep into the very essence of Stoic mastery, exploring how self-control, the ability to stay calm under pressure, and the art of emotional discipline can transform your life. We'll discuss why Stoicism is not just an ancient philosophy, but a practical way of living that can create lasting change in your everyday experience. Are you ready to take control of your mind and your destiny? Stay with us until the end, and I promise you'll leave with tools you can immediately start using to live a life of unshakable strength and peace. In a world where everyone seems to be chasing validation and the next fleeting high, the Stoic philosophy offers something radically different: the strength that comes from within. It teaches us that true power isn't about controlling the world around us, but about mastering ourselves. It's about looking inward and developing a quiet but unstoppable force of will that can face any challenge. How many times have you felt the world push against you? How often do you find yourself reacting impulsively, letting emotions dictate your decisions? What if there was a way to break free from that cycle? A way to choose how you respond, no matter what life throws at you? The foundation of Stoic philosophy is built on one core principle: self-control. At first glance, self-control might seem like something simple, perhaps even mundane. But in reality, it is the greatest power you can possess. In the frantic pace of modern life, with constant distractions, stresses, and expectations, it's easy to forget the incredible strength that comes from simply being able to control your response to what happens around you. Think about it for a moment. How often do you react without thinking? How many times do you feel overwhelmed by your emotions, swept up in anger, fear, or sadness? The Stoic teaches us that true power lies in not reacting, but in choosing how we respond. The quiet strength of someone who has mastered self-control is unmatched. It doesn't need to shout, it doesn't need to demand attention, it simply is. What makes self-control so vital is that it leads to the next great Stoic virtue: inner authority. Inner authority is the ability to govern yourself without needing external validation. It is the power that comes from having clarity about who you are, what you stand for, and why you make the choices you do. It is not arrogance or self-righteousness. It is an unwavering confidence in your own principles and an understanding that your decisions are guided by something greater than momentary impulses. Imagine for a moment the power of living your life in alignment with your deepest values, knowing that no external circumstance can shake you or make you question your worth. Wouldn't that be a life worth living? Now, I know that this may sound idealistic, like a distant dream, but let me assure you, this is not just a possibility. It is something you can start building today. And the first step is self-awareness. The Stoics weren't just philosophers. They were practical people who understood that wisdom begins with knowing yourself. They didn't look to external forces to determine their fate. They took full responsibility for their actions, their thoughts, and their emotion. This is where true strength lies, in the willingness to take full responsibility for your own mind. Most of us go through life on autopilot, allowing our emotions, our surroundings, and the opinions of others to dictate how we feel and how we behave. But the Stoic chooses a different path. They decide each and every day how they will respond, how they will think, and how they will act. This power of choice is self-control. It's the ability to pause before reacting, to choose your actions, to control your impulses. When you truly master this, you gain freedom. You become free from the whims of your emotions, the influence of external pressure, and the constant distractions that pull your attention in 100 different directions. Instead of being tossed around by life, you become the one who steers the ship. This is the essence of Stoic strength, the ability to remain centered, calm, and focused, no matter what life throws your way. And it's a skill that anyone can develop with practice. Imagine for a moment how different your life could be if you could meet every challenge with a sense of calm and clarity. If you could face every difficult situation with a steady mind, unshaken by emotion or fear. This is what the Stoic achieves. Not perfection, but a constant deepening of self-mastery. Every time life presents a challenge, the Stoic sees it as an opportunity to strengthen their resolve. Self-control becomes a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows stronger the more you use it. The more you practice controlling your reactions, the more your mind becomes sharp and focused, cutting through the distractions of daily life and staying on the path that you've chosen for yourself. Now, I want you to stop and ask yourself, when was the last time you truly acted with intention, without being controlled by your emotions or external pressures? When was the last time you took full control of your thoughts and emotions and made a decision based on what you truly wanted, not what the world or others expected from you? If you can't remember the last time, then you know it's time to make a change, and that change starts now. As you continue on this journey, remember, Stoic philosophy isn't about avoiding emotions or suppressing feelings. It's about learning how to direct them in a way that serves your higher purpose. The Stoic doesn't let anger control them. Instead, they channel it into action. Action that is measured, deliberate, and aligned with their values. They don't run from fear. They face it head-on, using it as fuel to become more courageous. They don't suppress sadness, obsessus. They acknowledge it, learn from it, and transform it into a deeper appreciation for life. To truly embody Stoicism, we must commit to self-control and inner authority. We must practice the art of observing our thoughts and emotions, choosing which ones to nurture and which ones to let go of. You have the power to choose how you respond. And once you master this, nothing in the world will have the power to move you off course. I encourage you to take this lesson with you today. Reflect on the moments in your life where you let external circumstances dictate your thoughts, your actions, or your emotion. Take back that control. Start by practicing small moments of self-control and clarity, and watch as you begin to build an unshakable foundation within yourself. Before you go, if this content resonated with you, please don't forget to subscribe to the Pure Stoic Practice channel to continue your journey towards self-mastery. Your support means the world to us and gives us the motivation to create more impactful content in the future. Together, we can build a community of individuals who are committed to living with intention, self-control, and inner strength. Thank you for being here, and remember, true power comes from mastering yourself. Stay strong, stay focused, and I'll see you in the next video. Cultivating unshakable presence and measured emotion. In a world that demands constant attention, speed, and reaction, there exists a profound wisdom hidden within the Stoic philosophy. A wisdom that teaches the art of remaining calm amidst the storm, of choosing stillness over chaos. The Stoics knew something that most of us overlook in our frantic attempts to control external circumstances. True mastery comes from within, and it begins with cultivating unshakable presence and measured emotion. Imagine for a moment being in the midst of a difficult situation, perhaps a heated argument, a sudden challenge, or an unexpected crisis. The world around you is in turmoil, but you remain calm, composed, unwavering. Your heart beats steadily, your mind sharpens with clarity, and your thoughts are not scattered or overwhelmed by fear or anger. You have found a way to remain unshaken, even when everything around you seems to be in chaos. This is not a natural state for most people, and yet it is the hallmark of the Stoic, an individual who is not controlled by circumstances, but instead is the master of their own presence. The concept of unshakable presence is at the core of Stoic practice. It is the ability to stand firm and grounded no matter what life throws at you. In our modern world, where the constant rush of information, social pressures, and emotional volatility can overwhelm even the most resilient, the Stoic knows that presence is a choice. It is the conscious decision to remain anchored in the present moment, not allowing external forces to dictate our state of mind. A Stoic does not rush in the face of adversity. They move with purpose, carefully, deliberately, and without haste. Their very being radiates strength because they are not moved by the noise around them. True presence is not about being indifferent to the world or numbing oneself to the challenges we face. It is about embracing the present moment with full awareness, without being swayed by emotional impulses. It is about choosing how we respond rather than letting our emotions dictate our action. This kind of presence is not loud or forceful. It does not demand attention or recognition. Instead, it quietly commands respect through its stillness, through its steadiness, and through its deep-rooted connection to something greater than momentary reactions. The Stoic presence is one that draws attention naturally because it is authentic and unpretentious. It is the power of being fully grounded in who you are and unwavering in your commitment to live according to your principles. For many, this may sound like an unattainable ideal. We live in a world where we are encouraged to react, to express ourselves, to be loud and bold. Our emotions are often seen as validations of our experience, and society tells us that we should always act on them, that feeling is equivalent to being real. But the Stoics challenge this. They teach us that true strength lies in restraint, in the ability to observe our emotions without being controlled by them. Emotions, after all, are just energy in motion. They are not inherently good or bad. It is how we choose to respond to them that shapes our character. Measured emotion is not about suppressing what we feel. It's not about becoming numb or disconnected from the richness of human experience. Quite the opposite. It's about learning how to direct raw emotional energy towards something purposeful. The Stoic does not reject anger. They refine it, transforming it into a force for justice, for change, or for the protection of what they hold dear. They do not ignore fear. They acknowledge it, confront it, and use it as a source of courage, knowing that growth lies on the other side of fear. They do not push away sadness. They welcome it as a teacher, using it to deepen their appreciation for life's fleeting beauty. Measured emotion is the art of choosing how to respond to our feelings instead of being swept away by them. In our everyday lives, it is all too easy to let momentary impulses take the reins. How many times have we snapped in anger only to regret it later? How many times have we let fear stop us from taking action, paralyzed by uncertainty? The Stoic challenges us to look at these emotions not as obstacles, but as opportunities to strengthen our control over ourselves. Emotions are not our masters. We are their masters. When we can learn to step back from our initial reactions and observe our emotions with clarity, we begin to see them for what they truly are. Signals, not commands. They are opportunities for growth, teaching us about our values, our desires, and our fears. And when we learn to harness this energy, we can transform it into something powerful and constructive. The process of mastering measured emotion begins with awareness. We must first recognize what we are feeling before we can do anything about it. Most people, when faced with a strong emotion, act impulsively. They do not pause to observe the emotion, to feel it fully and allow it to pass. Instead, they react, often in ways that are unhelpful, rash, or damaging. The Stoic, however, practices a different approach. They know that self-awareness is the key to transformation. The first step in mastering emotion is to acknowledge it, to observe it without judgment, and to understand its root. Once we understand why we are feeling the way we do, we can then make the conscious choice to either act on it or let it pass. This is the power of stillness, the ability to pause, to breathe, and to decide how to respond, rather than being swept away by our immediate impulses. Let's take anger as an example. It's an emotion that many people struggle with. When we feel anger, our natural inclination is to lash out, to speak our mind, to demand justice, to hurt someone in return. But the Stoic knows that anger is a tool, not a weapon. They know that if they allow their anger to control them, they will say or do things that they will regret later. Instead, they choose to pause, to reflect, and to ask themselves, what is the root of this anger? What is it teaching me? How can I respond in a way that aligns with my values? This doesn't mean they suppress their anger or pretend it doesn't exist. It means they control it, direct it, and use it constructively. Similarly, the Stoic understands that fear is a natural human emotion. It is a response to uncertainty, to the unknown, to potential loss. But the Stoic also knows that fear can either be a barrier or a motivator. Instead of allowing fear to paralyze them, they use it to sharpen their focus, to prepare themselves for action, and to bolster their courage. The Stoic does not shy away from fear. They embrace it, knowing that it is a necessary part of the journey toward growth. They understand that the only way to move past fear is to face it head-on, to take the first step even when they are afraid. Measured emotion is about balance. It is the recognition that every emotion has its place, but that no emotion should dictate our actions without careful consideration. It is about learning to observe and then choose, to let the energy of our feelings flow in a direction that serves our highest good. The Stoic teaches us that inner peace is not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of it. By learning to control our emotional reactions, we not only gain greater clarity, but also a deeper understanding of who we are and what we stand for. The ability to remain calm and composed, to choose how we respond to our emotions, is perhaps the greatest gift that Stoicism offers. It is the secret to unlocking our inner strength, to creating a life of purpose, intention, and clarity. When we can cultivate this unshakable presence, we begin to influence the world around us, not by force or aggression, but by the quiet strength of our calm, our clarity, and our resolve. This is the power of the Stoic. It is a power that comes not from dominating others, but from mastering ourselves. In the world we live in today, where emotions often run high and external circumstances can be overwhelming, the Stoic path offers a refuge. It offers a way to live with true freedom. Freedom from the tyranny of emotional reactivity, freedom from the pressures of society, and freedom from the need for external validation. It teaches us that we are the masters of our own fate, and that our presence, our ability to remain calm, clear, and focused, is the most powerful tool we have. So I ask you to reflect on your own emotional responses. How often do you let your emotions control you? How often do you react impulsively only to regret it later? What would happen if you took a step back, observed your feelings, and chose your response with intention? The Stoic path is not about avoiding emotions. It is about learning to control them, to harness their power, and to use them in service of a higher purpose. When we can do this, we unlock the full potential of our lives. In conclusion, the Stoic path offers a way to live with unshakable presence and measured emotion. It offers a way to live with clarity, to face challenges with calm and focus, and to act with intention. This is the path of true mastery, not just of our external circumstances, but of our inner selves. When we can master our emotions and remain grounded in our presence, we become unstoppable, unwavering in our pursuit of a life aligned with our deepest values. This is the power of the Stoic, disciplined energy, harnessing and directing inner power. In a world that constantly demands more of our time, attention, and energy, it is easy to feel as though we are running on empty, our minds and bodies drained by the relentless pressures of modern life. We are constantly told to do more and achieve faster, to multitask, and to keep moving at a pace that never seems to slow down. In the rush to accomplish everything, it becomes easy to lose sight of the most valuable resource we have, our energy. Yet, there is a profound truth hidden in the ancient Stoic teachings. Energy like any other resource, must be managed wisely. The Stoics understood something deeply important about how we use our energy. It is not about working harder, but working smarter with intention and discipline. Disciplined energy is the key to mastering our inner strength, and it begins with recognizing that energy is not an infinite well. It is a finite resource that must be carefully preserved, refined, and channeled toward a specific purpose. To live a life of purpose and clarity, we must develop the ability to manage our energy, using it not only to fulfill our duties, but also to conserve it for what truly matters. The Stoics understood that without structure, energy is easily scattered, wasted on distractions and the trivialities of daily life. But when energy is directed with purpose, it becomes a powerful tool capable of achieving great things. How often do we find ourselves overwhelmed by the sheer volume of demands placed on us each day? We wake up to a world already in motion, with countless tasks waiting for our attention, a never-ending stream of information, and the expectations of others bearing down on us. We feel the pressure to meet those demands, and often we respond by reacting rather than acting. We rush from one task to the next, seldom pausing to ask if this activity is truly in alignment with our values or goals. This is how we waste energy, by following the momentum of external forces instead of acting with intention. The Stoics, on the other hand, taught that true strength lies not in reacting to life, but in choosing our response, deliberately and thoughtfully, conserving our energy for the things that matter most. Imagine for a moment that you are standing in the middle of a storm. The winds are howling, the rain is pouring down, and you feel yourself being pushed from one side to the other by the force of it all. Most people would try to fight the storm, to push against the winds, to resist the inevitable. But the Stoic, grounded in their disciplined energy, would remain calm, centered, and focused. Instead of reacting to the storm, they would adjust their posture, find their balance, and move through the chaos with purpose and clarity. Energy is not spent on resisting the storm, but on finding a way to move through it, using it to propel them forward with strength and determination. This is the essence of disciplined energy, learning to conserve our energy for the tasks that are truly important and refusing to be swayed by the forces that drain us. It is about learning to act with intention, not because we are told to, but because we have chosen a course of action that aligns with our values and goals. To do this, we must develop the capacity to say no to the distractions, the time wasters, and the unnecessary demands that pull our attention away from what matters. The Stoics understood that energy is not just physical. It is also mental and emotional. If we allow ourselves to be scattered, constantly pulled in different directions, our minds and bodies will inevitably become exhausted. But when we focus our energy, we unlock a strength that can carry us through the most difficult of challenges. To cultivate disciplined energy, we must start by taking a hard look at our daily habits and routines. What are we spending our energy on? Is it serving us, or is it draining us? The Stoic practices of routine and ritual offer a powerful way to channel energy. The Stoics were keenly aware that without a disciplined structure, our energy is easily scattered. By establishing daily routines that support our values and goals, we can begin to conserve our energy for what truly matters. Discipline in the small things, waking up at a consistent time, dedicating time to meaningful work, engaging in regular physical exercise, and cultivating moments of stillness and reflection helps to train the mind and body to work in harmony. But discipline in energy is not only about creating structure, it is also about avoiding excess. The Stoics understood that indulgence, whether in food, pleasure, or comfort, saps our energy and distracts us from our purpose. The modern world is full of distractions, constantly enticing us to give in to impulses, to consume more, to seek immediate gratification. But the Stoic path is one of restraint, not out of asceticism, but because we understand that indulgence takes away from our energy, leaving us weaker and less focused. Every time we give in to a distraction or impulse, we waste precious energy that could be better spent on more meaningful pursuits. True strength comes from the ability to say no, to choose not to waste energy on what does not serve our long-term vision. To embody disciplined energy, we must also learn the art of prioritization. The Stoic does not spread themselves thin, trying to meet every demand, every expectation. Instead, they focus on what is truly important, using their energy for tasks that align with their purpose and contribute to their greater goals. The ability to prioritize means making hard choices, deciding what is worth our energy and what is not. It means saying no to the countless demands that come our way, whether from others or from ourselves, in order to say yes to the things that will move us closer to our vision. This requires clarity of purpose, an understanding of what we are working toward and why it matters. Without purpose, energy is easily wasted, lost in the pursuit of superficial goals and empty distractions. But when our energy is aligned with purpose, it becomes a powerful force that drives us forward. The Stoics also understood that energy is cyclical. It is not something we can simply push to its limits without consequences. Rest is an essential part of disciplined energy, for it allows us to recover, recharge, and renew our strength. However, the Stoic approach to rest is not indulgent. It is purposeful. Rest is part of the process of maintaining balance, ensuring that we do not exhaust ourselves in the pursuit of achievement, but rather conserve our energy for the long haul. The Stoic knows that they cannot continue to give without replenishing their reserves, and so they schedule moments of rest into their daily routine. These moments of stillness and recovery allow us to return to our work with renewed vigor and focus, ready to tackle the next challenge with clarity and precision. As we develop the capacity to conserve our energy, we begin to notice a remarkable shift in our ability to focus and achieve our goals. Energy that was once scattered across 1,000 different tasks is now focused, concentrated into the pursuit of what matters most. The Stoic's life becomes one of purposeful action, where every task, every decision is imbued with meaning. This is the power of disciplined energy. It is not just about working harder, but about working smarter. It is about directing our energy toward what is truly important and letting go of everything else. The energy we once wasted on trivial matters is now being used to move us toward our vision. Through disciplined energy, we also learn the power of delayed gratification. In a world that promotes instant satisfaction, the Stoic path is one of patience and endurance. The Stoic understands that true achievement takes time, that the most meaningful goals are often those that require years of dedication, hard work, and sustained effort. This long-term focus requires an immense amount of energy, but it also rewards us with a sense of deep fulfillment. The satisfaction of knowing that we are pursuing something that is worth the effort, something that aligns with our deepest values. The Stoic does not look for quick wins. They know that lasting success comes from years of steadfast discipline. In conclusion, the path of disciplined energy is one of profound mastery over oneself. It is about recognizing that energy is a precious resource, one that must be carefully conserved and used with intention. The Stoic teaches us that true strength lies not in working harder, but in working smarter, aligning our energy with purpose, creating structure in our lives, avoiding excess, and learning the art of prioritization. Through disciplined energy, we unlock a power that is capable of achieving anything we set our minds to. And we do so without wasting our precious resources on what does not serve us. This is the path to a life of meaningful achievement, a life where every action, every decision, every moment of rest and recovery is in alignment with our highest purpose. It is a path of mastery, not over others, but over ourselves, over our energy, our time, and our lives. Anchoring purpose, aligning action with meaning. In a world driven by distraction, external validation, and the constant pursuit of success, there is a profound truth that few truly understand. Purpose is the foundation of everything. Without purpose, our actions are like leaves in the wind, drifting aimlessly, pulled this way and that by the whims of the world. Yet, with purpose, we become like an oak tree rooted deeply in the ground, steady and unmovable in the face of life's storms. Purpose gives our lives direction, meaning, and strength. It is the true north on our compass, the guiding principle that leads us through the noise and chaos of modern existence. The Stoics understood this fundamental truth. Purpose anchors us to something greater than ourselves, and it is through this anchor that we find the strength to live with integrity, resilience, and focus. The modern world constantly bombards us with distractions, social media, the pressure to keep up, the constant flood of information and stimuli. In the face of all this noise, it is easy to lose sight of what truly matters. We often chase after fleeting desires, seeking approval or recognition, only to find that the satisfaction is short-lived. Ambition, when not rooted in purpose, becomes a pursuit of empty rewards, a game of validation rather than a journey of self-discovery. The Stoic path, however, is one of deep alignment with one's core principles. It is not a path driven by external validation, but by internal clarity, the clarity of knowing who we are, what we stand for, and where we are going. This clarity gives us the strength to say no to distraction, to focus on what is truly important, and to move forward with unwavering determination. Purpose is not simply a goal or a desire. It is a compass that guides every decision, every action, and every thought. To have a clear purpose is to live with intention, to know that every step you take is moving you towards something meaningful, something that aligns with your deepest values. Purpose gives us the strength to endure hardship, to overcome obstacles, and to keep moving forward, even when the path is difficult. It is the belief in something greater than the temporary struggles of today. Purpose allows us to persevere. The Stoic knows that challenges are not to be avoided, but embraced as opportunities for growth. Through the lens of purpose, difficulties are no longer burdens, but lessons to be learned. One of the most powerful aspects of purpose is its ability to provide clarity in the midst of uncertainty. When we are unclear about our purpose, we become lost in the noise, unsure of which direction to take. We may find ourselves pulled in multiple directions, chasing after things that don't truly matter, unsure of what to focus on. But when we are anchored in purpose, we know exactly what is important, and we can make decisions with clarity and confidence. Purpose simplifies. It acts as a filter for the noise of life, helping us to cut through the distractions and focus our energy on what truly matters. It enables us to say no to things that do not align with our values, freeing us to invest our time and energy into pursuits that bring us closer to our goals. This clarity of purpose allows us to move with intention, to act with deliberation, and to live with integrity. Purpose also allows us to develop the discipline necessary to achieve our goals. Without purpose, discipline becomes a meaningless task, something we do because we think we should. But when discipline is aligned with purpose, it becomes a powerful force, driving us toward our true objectives. Discipline is not about forcing ourselves to do things we don't want to do. It is about cultivating the habits and behaviors that will lead us toward our purpose. Whether it is the discipline to wake up early, the discipline to work steadily toward a goal, or the discipline to resist distractions, it is purpose that fuels this discipline. When we know why we are doing something, when we are clear on the end goal, the effort becomes worth it. Purpose transforms discipline from a task into a meaningful pursuit. It is important to note that purpose is not a fixed destination. It is not a single goal that, once achieved, will bring us permanent satisfaction. Rather, purpose is an ongoing journey, a continual process of growth and discovery. As we evolve, our understanding of our purpose may shift, but the central truth remains. Purpose gives our lives meaning. For the Stoic, purpose is grounded in virtue, in living in accordance with one's deepest values. It is about aligning our actions with the highest form of good, and in doing so, creating a life of meaning and fulfillment. This understanding of purpose is not contingent upon external success, but on the alignment between our actions and our principles. Purpose is a living expression of who we are at our core. The Stoics also recognized the importance of long-term vision when it comes to purpose. In a world that prizes instant gratification, it is easy to lose sight of the long-term goals that truly matter. But the Stoic knows that meaningful achievements require time, patience, and persistence. Purpose requires long-term commitment. It is not about achieving quick wins, but about dedicating oneself to a cause, to a mission that transcends the immediate moment. The Stoic understands that true success is built over time, through consistent effort and unwavering focus. This long-term perspective helps the Stoic to endure difficulties without losing sight of the greater goal, to navigate setbacks without giving up, and to remain focused even when the results are not immediately apparent. Purpose also plays a crucial role in personal growth. When we are connected to our purpose, we are more likely to engage in activities that help us grow and improve. Purpose encourages us to seek knowledge, to develop new skills, and to expand our horizons. It inspires us to become the best versions of ourselves, to work diligently, and to strive toward excellence in all that we do. The pursuit of purpose encourages us to transcend our limitations and to continually push ourselves toward greater achievements. Purpose fuels growth. It encourages us to learn from every experience, to find meaning in every challenge, and to continually refine our character. But what happens when we lose sight of our purpose? What happens when we become disconnected from our true values and goals? The answer is simple. We become adrift. We lose focus. We become distracted, and we begin to live reactively rather than proactively. When we are disconnected from purpose, life becomes a series of disconnected events, a series of tasks we complete without understanding their significance. We chase after external achievements only to find that they leave us feeling empty, unfulfilled, and dissatisfied. This is the danger of living without purpose. Without a clear sense of direction, we become lost in the noise of the world, unsure of who we are or where we are going. The Stoic Aura offers us a powerful antidote to this condition: purpose anchoring. Purpose anchoring is the practice of rooting ourselves deeply in our values and principles, and using this anchor to guide every decision and every action. When we are anchored in purpose, we no longer need to chase external validation or seek approval from others. We are free to live according to our own values, knowing that our actions are aligned with something greater than ourselves. Purpose anchoring gives us the strength to say no to the distractions, to the temptation, and to the false promises of the world, and to say yes to the things that truly matter. It allows us to live with integrity, to act with courage, and to pursue our goals with unwavering determination. As we develop the practice of purpose anchoring, we begin to notice a profound shift in our lives. We become more focused, more resilient, and more confident in our decisions. We are no longer swayed by the opinions of others or by the fleeting desires that once dictated our actions. Instead, we move through life with clarity and purpose, making decisions that are aligned with our values and our long-term goals. We begin to live in accordance with our deepest truth, and in doing so, we create a life that is rich in meaning and fulfillment. Purpose becomes the foundation of everything we do: our work, our relationships, our choices, and through it, we find the strength to face any challenge and to navigate any storm. In conclusion, the Stoic path is one of purposeful living, grounded in the understanding that true fulfillment comes from aligning our actions with our deepest values and goals. Purpose is the anchor that holds us steady in the face of life's challenges, the guiding principle that gives our lives meaning and direction. When we live with purpose, we gain the strength to endure hardship, the clarity to make wise decisions, and the focus to pursue our long-term vision. Purpose is not a destination, but a journey of continual growth, discovery, and alignment with our highest potential. Through purpose, we find meaning, fulfillment, and the courage to live life on our own terms, mastery of stillness, and detached observation. As we navigate through the complexities of life, we often find ourselves caught in a whirlwind of emotions, thoughts, and reactions. From fleeting moments of joy to intense bursts of anger or frustration, emotions can cloud our judgment, cloud our perception, and cloud our actions. Yet there is a path, a way of being that allows us to transcend this emotional turbulence, where we are not controlled by our feelings, but instead we control them. This is the practice of detached observation, a concept that is fundamental to Stoic philosophy. It is the ability to witness our emotions and thoughts without being consumed by them, to understand their origin without letting them dictate our behavior. Detached observation is not about suppressing emotions or avoiding them. Rather, it is about observing them with awareness, acknowledging them for what they are, and choosing how to respond. It is the art of maintaining a sense of inner distance from the emotional chaos of life, allowing us to engage with the world from a place of clarity and reason. The Stoics understood that emotions, when not observed with clarity, can easily take hold of us and lead us astray, pulling us into impulsive reactions and destructive patterns. But when we can observe these emotions, acknowledge their presence, and then choose how to respond, we gain a tremendous amount of freedom. We are no longer slaves to our feelings. Instead, we become masters of them. Imagine for a moment being in the midst of a tense situation, perhaps an argument with a loved one or a confrontation at work. In the heat of the moment, emotions can surge, urging us to react, to defend ourselves, to lash out in anger or frustration. In those moments, it is easy to get swept up in the current of our feelings, to say things we don't mean, or to act in ways that we later regret. But what if, instead of reacting, we could take a step back, just for a moment, and observe our emotions without judgment? What if, in that pause, we could see the emotion for what it truly is? Just energy passing through us, a reaction to external stimuli that doesn't have to define our actions? This is the power of detached observation. It allows us to create space between stimulus and response, giving us the freedom to choose our reaction. The Stoics believed that emotions, though natural, are often the result of misperception or misjudgment. We often react impulsively to situations because we interpret them through the lens of our own biases, fears, and desires. When we practice detached observation, we begin to see that emotions are not facts. They are simply reactions to our interpretations of the world around us. By stepping back and observing our emotional responses with a clarity, we gain the ability to question those interpretations and challenge them, allowing us to respond from a place of wisdom rather than impulse. Let's take anger, for example. When we experience anger, it often feels as though we are justified in our emotions. We feel wronged, hurt, or misunderstood, and our natural inclination is to defend ourselves or strike back. But when we observe anger from a detached perspective, we can begin to ask ourselves, why am I angry? What is the root of this emotion? Is this anger justified, or is it a reaction to something that isn't as significant as I'm making it out to be? Through this process of observation, we can begin to see that anger, like all emotions, is a response to our thoughts and beliefs about a situation, not necessarily the situation itself. The ability to pause, observe, and reflect before reacting allows us to make more measured, thoughtful decisions, rather than being swept away by the tide of emotional impulses. In addition to anger, consider how fear can affect us. Fear can be paralyzing, causing us to hesitate, avoid challenges, or fail to take action when action is necessary. But fear, like all emotions, is often based on assumptions. Assumptions about what might happen, assumptions about our own limitations, assumptions about the unknown. When we practice detached observation, we are able to step back from our fear and see it for what it truly is. A projection of our minds, often distorted by past experiences or imagined futures. By observing our fear without judgment, we can assess whether it is rational or based on irrational thoughts. Fear can serve as a useful signal, alerting us to potential danger or a need for caution, but it doesn't have to control us. Through detached observation, we learn to question our fears, to see them clearly and evaluate them based on reality rather than our emotional reactions. The key to mastering detached observation lies in mindfulness, the practice of being fully present with our thoughts, emotions, and experiences without judgment or attachment. Mindfulness allows us to step out of the automatic reactive mode that we often operate in and instead observe our thoughts and feelings from a place of awareness. When we are mindful, we begin to realize that we are not our emotions. We are the observers of our emotion, and this shift in perspective is what grants us the power to choose how we respond. However, mindfulness and detached observation require practice. They are not abilities that we can simply summon in moments of crisis. Rather, they must be cultivated through daily practice. Stillness is a key component of this practice. The Stoics knew that the mind is often clouded by the noise of the world, by the constant bombardment of information and distractions. To see clearly, we must learn to quiet the mind, to still the inner chatter that keeps us from perceiving the world as it truly is. Through practices like meditation, reflection, and contemplation, we begin to cultivate a state of stillness that allows us to observe our thoughts and emotions without being swept away by them. It is also important to note that detached observation does not mean indifference. The Stoics were not advocating for a life devoid of emotion or passion. Rather, they believed that by practicing detached observation, we could engage with the world more fully, with greater compassion, understanding, and clarity. When we observe our emotions without becoming attached to them, we can respond with greater empathy and wisdom. We are able to interact with others without the distortion of our own emotional baggage, and we can make decisions based on what is truly right rather than what our emotions tell us in the moment. As we practice detached observation, we also develop greater resilience. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and disappointments, and it is easy to become overwhelmed or discouraged when things don't go according to plan. But when we observe our emotions without becoming attached to them, we can weather the storms of life with greater ease. We can experience disappointment without being consumed by it, failure without giving up, and frustration without allowing it to derail our progress. Detached observation helps us to stay centered, no matter what happens around us. In conclusion, detached observation is a powerful tool for living a life of clarity, wisdom, and emotional mastery. It allows us to observe our emotions without being consumed by them, to choose our responses rather than reacting impulsively. It teaches us to see our thoughts and feelings for what they truly are, temporary reactions to the world around us, not truths about who we are. Through this practice, we gain the freedom to act with purpose, intent, and clarity, to engage with the world not from a place of emotional turmoil, but from a place of calm and reason. The Stoics knew that the key to true freedom lies in the ability to observe, reflect, and choose. And as we cultivate this practice of detached observation, we unlock the potential for a life of greater peace, greater resilience, and greater wisdom. Thank you for reading and exploring this powerful Stoic practice. If you found value in this content, we encourage you to subscribe to the Pure Stoic Practice channel to continue on this journey of self-mastery. Your support is deeply appreciated, and it motivates us to create more content that can help you live a life of purpose, clarity, and emotional resilience. Leave a comment below with your thoughts or experiences. Let's keep this conversation going, and together we can all continue to grow.